What's your body telling you? From the moment you wake up and until you fall asleep, even the time in between, your body is sending you signals. Thanks to science, we may now have a better understanding of where those signals are coming from. The endocannabinoid system is a complex network that's believed to play a vital role in supporting healthy processes and functions throughout the body. Within that system exists countless receptors. This is where CBD comes in. CBD stands for cannabidiol, a naturally occurring compound within the hemp plant, and unlike THC, CBD does not produce a high. Research shows that CBD supports mental and physical health using natural methods. With the endocannabinoid system touching nearly every part of our daily lives, it is no wonder that so many have been reporting the positive effects of CBD. Find out how you can benefit from the HempWorks difference. HempWorks. Try it today.
I can't hear you.
How's that? Better?
Hello?
You hear me now?
Oh, yeah, it works with my headset there.
Sorry about that. I was thinking 6 a.m. It's like 5 o'clock here. I was thinking 6 o'clock our time. It's all good. I got here.
It was my mistake because you said you were in Chicago, and that's 7 hours.
Yeah.
I kept thinking you were in Atlanta.
No, I wish.
Your accent.
At least Savannah. How you doing this morning, sir?
I'm good. How are you?
Oh, I'll let you know when I wake up. I just rolled out of bed, actually.
Really?
Yeah. And I'm time to get the dogs out and get the coffee, and I'm rocking here.
We're not live.
Yeah, we are. We're going.
Oh, good.
Yeah, we're good. I remember to hit the live button.
Okay.
Yeah, because I'm looking. Oh yeah, I gotta go live. So how you doing this one?
I'm great.
Awesome.
Just had a Thai massage and.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
I gotta find out what the hell those are. I need one of those.
They're tough. I mean, she's good, but yeah.
Oh wow. All right, you and I have talked before, but for those who do not know you, could you please tell us a little bit about yourself?
Well, I grew up in LA during the 60s and 70s. I had a pretty wild ride back in the day. Moved throughout the United States quite a bit as a kid, and then later on I did too. I was in construction, worked in Santa Fe, New Mexico for many years. Had an architectural firm and contracting company in San Francisco, and a guy ran a red light. One of many accidents, but this contractor broadsided me downtown San Francisco.
Ouch.
And it activated a lot of injuries from my youth. And I was one of the maybe considered extreme sportists of my day. I was raised on skis by my dad in New York before I moved to LA. And if I saw a bump, I'd jump it. If I saw a cliff, we'd go off it. And we never really knew how we were going to land sometimes. So anyway, I'll speed through all those injuries and motorcycles and other things. I've been a martial artist since I was about 12, started training, getting ready for Vietnam. Thought I'd go and other things, a lot of violence in the LA school district back then. Anyway, with all that training and injuries and stuff, the path changed. I started training in Tai Chi and Chinese medicine and massage, sports massage, neuromuscular work. I did a Reiki. As I shared with you, one of my injuries caused me to have a vagovascular effect. I've had 9 traumatic brain injuries. The first one at 3, and then one day a tool fell off a scaffold, and I didn't have my hard hat on. It hit me like right on the crown.
Ow.
My girlfriend that we went to see Clint Black, I think she was a country western fan. Anyway, we went there, and as soon as they started playing, the whole room went into a telescope, and I walked outside and sat down. And I said, I think I'm going to die. And I fell back, and she Reiki'd me back. And that happened 2 other times. So I studied Reiki. And my path led me to Las Vegas, where I started Tai Chi schools, a therapy business, coaching, continued my training with many masters, I'd say, backyard masters, and quite famous ones. And my journey took me to China. I was invited to go with my Qigong master, Master Wang Ming Zhang, who brought to the world the acupuncture Qigong. And we went and trained in caves and temples, and up where the Yellow Emperor and Lao Tzu did their work together. And I got to see things back in '94. We were the first entourage after Tiananmen Square, so we were treated with great care and delight. That we were, the doors had opened, and we were lucky enough to be with about 15 other martial artists and some Chinese medical doctors. We trained, we trained at the Chengdu Western Chinese Medical Hospital, and we really had a nice time. And I came back. I met my teacher, Dr. Yuan, one of my main influences. He and I ran into each other at a Whole Life Expo, and I became his student and one of his first teachers. I started teaching in Europe. A woman came to one of my quantum physics seminars in Austin, Texas, I was giving, and she had a cold, and we got rid of her cold in like about 10 seconds, and she brought me out to Germany, and the rest is history. I've been working throughout Europe, teaching that for many years, and I developed my own courses to supplement my background. I'll just go back a little to San Francisco. When I was in San Francisco, I had kind of run into a wall because in one of my accidents, they'd given me medications, and the combination of the painkillers with Valiums and antidepressants and stuff. That was my first time taking medications like that. I'd only taken aspirin up till then, and recreational things. But anyway, after I had done that, taking those pills, I read what it did to my liver, and I stopped immediately after 6 months of increasing the dosage because the pain kept getting worse in my spine from one of my first accidents. So anyway, I stopped those pills, and my whole world crashed. You're supposed to taper off.
Yeah.
I saw what it did to my liver. I said, boom.
See ya.
And then I experienced really probably a complete collapse of my, I would say, my strategies and structures of success in the world. I worked hard. I loved what I did. I was good at it, and building. We were good. We were a good team. But now I couldn't even drink a beer, so I had a problem, and I put myself in the hospital to find out what that was. And then that's when they told me that the combination of drugs they'd given me was the same as giving me heroin.
Oh.
Yeah, and so for 6 months I was loading up with these pills, and my neurologist just said, "Yeah, just take more." I had twins, and I'd pick them up, and re-injured my spine. So that kind of led me into a complete free fall. I would say an emotional free fall that I couldn't really get myself out of. Although I used my karate training, my early karate training, and then I hooked up with a Philippine martial artist that helped me with his path that he regenerated himself from. He was a great martial artist, amazing. And we trained together for about 6 months, and then I got back to work. But I went back to, I wound up divorced and went to San Francisco. And when I was there, before I had my other accident, I had met this shaman, who was also a Jungian Gestalt therapist, and they combined with Dr. Roquette. He studied with Timothy Leary, Stanislav Grof, Ron Kurtz, and many other people in the transpersonal psychotherapy of San Francisco, and then they combined that with the shamanic practices of Central and Southern America. And I was quite, I went into psychotherapy, and the next thing I knew, I was introduced to this path of shamanism, and I stayed with it for a while, left, and then I came back because I'd met this teacher that I really had a good connection with. He was another shaman of a different, he did the ayahuasca and the Shipibo, he'd been training with the Shipibo Indians in Peru. And
now, what is that? What does that entail?
The training, or?
Yeah.
Well, I didn't really go to become a shaman. I tell everybody that. In fact, when they initiated me, I didn't know they were initiating me.
Surprise!
I thought we were all there. I thought we all got invited to that, but I was the only guy on the tour that was. But in my life, I'd had Indians come to me many times in Santa Fe and try to, knock on my door and let me know what I was. There was a bigger picture for me. I just wasn't ready for that. But what it entails is really a matter of your own personal work. And then the maestro or the curandero transmits the information into you over many nights of working with them. So I went to Peru, and also I worked with my teacher for actually many years. And they started the initiation in Peru. And then when I found out that he had started that, then my teacher carried it on, and then back and forth. And it's something that they transmit to you in the work. And when it's done, it's done. I knew it was done when it was done the last night. And since then, it's something that grows in you. And I really didn't look to do the work, but then the work called to me, and people actually started asking me. And that's how it works in the energy, right?
Yeah. It's wild how that turns out, because you're drawn to a particular path, and it's like, okay, I guess I'll be doing this for the rest of my life.
Well, I didn't even know what it was. I met, just from my own experience, I'd been visited by spirits my whole life, and I didn't. I thought I was just paranoid, actually.
Yeah, I would be too. So started visiting me like that. Like, wait a minute.
Well, I would go out to my car in Santa Fe, and there would be like this void, and this like that past me, and all the hair on my neck would stand up, and I'd finally I wound up out there just asking whoever it was to show themselves. And I brought in this spiritual gal who could see things, and she said, "I wouldn't mess with that one, Bart. That's a bad one." I was getting angry, tired of getting scared. So anyway, throughout my life, I was very sensitive. Although I trained in martial arts and all that, I was very sensitive to people's energies and stuff. And what I meant was, I seemed to think I was shy, but really I was sensing other people, because after I did the work and I could see, then I could see what I was sensing. And then,
right.
Oh, okay. So, yeah.
Yeah, you're like an empath like me. I tend to pick up on people's energies as well. Sometimes we're good, sometimes not too hot.
Sometimes not.
Yeah.
But it's been a journey. Like it's like I always felt like I was the Forrest Gump of many different paths that you don't know how you got there. You didn't choose it necessarily consciously, but there you are.
Yeah.
And then all the tools you had along the way, even the martial arts, has helped me to do this work. So it's been a blessing. So yeah. So anyway, yeah, go ahead.
You said you studied Tai Chi and Kwai Zhang as well?
Qigong. Yeah, I've studied in many different styles of martial arts, hard styles, and then I moved into Aikido and Kendo, and then due to an injury with my wrist, I had to stop that, and I went to the Tai Chi to heal my spine And I've been doing that for about 33 years now. And
What's the difference in the two between the Kujang and the Tai Chi?
Qigong,
Yeah.
Qigong. Well, it's like my teacher. I trained at the end in San Francisco with Dr. P. Fei, who's direct lineage to Chen Menqing. He was the head of the Kung Fu Society and board of acupuncturists. I was blessed to meet him through a guy I used to spar with, and he said, "Tai Chi is Qigong." He goes, and of course he goes, "The best Qigong." But the difference is the principles are applied to what's known as Kung Fu. So it's many static postures that are put together into a form with martial application. And really all Qigongs and Tai Chis that I've studied are both for health and fitness first, we'd say,
right.
and self-awareness, but they're also have martial capability.
Now, are they used to release energy, or how does that work? I mean,
Well, I think one of the best things to do is to maybe do, if we're live now and you've got an audience that's listening to this or will listen to it, what I like to do in all my presentations is give an example of it that people can start developing themselves with. The most simple, which was Zanzhuang Qigong, that was a part of an art called Yichuan, or intention training.
Okay.
Moving into what's called empty force practice, which is, that's where you see people not touching people and they go flying, right? And
that growing up as a kid and not knowing what it was at the time, I mean, it was like, wow, this is pretty cool. I like this stuff. Because I used to be bullied as a kid, so I mean, I was like, all right, I need something like this to keep me out of trouble, because I will get in trouble.
Train?
Huh?
What did you train?
I didn't train. I was growing up. I was kind of like sheltered because they didn't think. My parents said, "Nah, this is not a good idea."
Yeah, my dad told me learn to walk away or run, but there was always 5 or 6 of them against me. I got bullied when I moved to LA. It was a lot of racial violence, and that's when I started hanging out with the street guys and learning how to do street fight and weapons, and then I started training with guys coming out of Nam. And after you learn how to fight, nobody wants to fight you. So that didn't last long, but it was it lasted a few years.
yeah. Once they see what you did to somebody else, they want to mess with you. It's like, I don't think so.
Yeah, he's not running and crying anymore. He's sitting back.
No, they were running and crying now.
Well, I don't know about that, but got a couple of them. We wound up being all friends. That's the beauty of it. Once you have that interaction where you're standing for yourself, then I became friends with all the tough guys that were my enemies at the beginning. But anyway, Tai Chi and Qigong is a internal focus where we give our structure or the whole system. We utilize our structure in the ones I'm working with. There are spontaneous Qigongs where you don't necessarily focus on building a structure in the beginning. It's more about allowing the qi to flow and move with it. So this qigong that I do about 5 qigongs, but I mainly focus on the Yichuan or the Zanzhuang, and where we sit and we create a straight posture, and I visualize my head top from the crown. If I drew from my ears to my head top, at this point there's we call that the Bai Wei point. And I visualize this being supported by the heavens, or being pulled by a silver thread. And so I always have this upward sensation. We could say 20% going up and then 80% going down. And if I'm sitting in a chair, I sit, if this is the chair, right?
Right.
I move forward to the chair so I'm not leaning on the back of the chair. And my feet are parallel from the knees down in all directions, so they're not in, out, forward, or back, because we sit until we stand. And then we focus on a point that's 2.5 inches, say 3 fingers underneath the belly buttons, the dantian.
Right.
This is an energy plane, a center. And wherever we focus our thoughts or is where our energy goes. So if I focus in this point of power, this will fill, it will spill, and it will come down into the earth and come back into the bone, but the bones and the muscles and the ligaments and the tendons and the organs, and it finds its own path. And as my teacher Fong Ha in Berkeley said, this is the path to achieve everything by doing nothing, Bart. Which I went, eh. It's like,
I'm in.
no, I was one of those guys who had to perform all the time to find my value. It's like, what can I achieve for myself? What can I do? And to just stand there, of course, put that part of my personality and mind into a place of focus. And we don't fight that. The key to this is comfort. And if my mind is giving me a lot of stories, then I just give my mind a target, a focus, and that's the Dantian. So I use this throughout my whole day, and everybody can use it. I give this all over the world, wherever I teach or train. As you've come onto my group healings,
Right.
I bring everybody to the center, and we go there, and then we have the microcosmic, we have the main energy channels that come up, connect at the tongue and down. So we utilize this focus. We can, as we're sitting, visualize golden light, healing light coming down through our body. Yeah.
Right.
They talk about the inner smile.
Right.
His work there. Yeah. And so, yeah, it's about setting ourselves up to maximize or optimize our energy flows and have access to all sensations, thoughts, sounds, and everything, but not be a slave to the mind. We give the mind a job. We take control. We like, my mind can be taking me, oh, well, how am I going to pay my bills? Okay, well, I come back and I focus here, right? I notice that thought, change nothing, come back. And in my last really big injury that I gave myself, I took a jump here in Sweden 12 years ago and blew my knee out. I didn't know I'd been paralyzed to my knees in one of my accidents, and I'd just been working a lot and not really doing some power skiing and stuff. So I went up and showing off in front of my daughter. Poor girl had to see Papa land on the ice, and bam.
Yeah.
But I slipped and I hit my head, blowing my knee out the other way 6 weeks later, and I hit my head so hard that I came back. And the only way, it took me 4 years to sit and rebuild my knee completely so I could go up and downstairs with what I do, the healing work I do. But then it took me actually, I would say up till about 3 months ago to completely, and that's with that stem cell technology, the X39 I have, that that brought me the rest of the way home. But what I wanted to say here is that I could not even focus on my Dantian because I've generated too much energy. But what I developed through 30 years or so or 25 years back then, whatever, of internal focus was an acute awareness of my center and energy flows. So I could actually watch the chi come up into my brain and start to move in places where it had been traumatized. Because when you take a hit as big as I had, the neurons, if one neuron dies, not the rest, but others around it die off too. So they commit suicide to do a protection thing. So I could watch the little pathways open until I could slowly get out of bed and start doing my Qigong again. And that's what the Qigong was, the only thing I could do to bring myself back because I was so weak. And now I'm training Shotokan karate with my 12-year-old, and I'm just about getting my green belt, and I'm sparring with the senpai, and
Wow.
I'm 65 and I'm as fast, or we're about equal to the 40-year-old teacher. I was very fast my whole life, but I'm back, full mobility, and I do my Qigong and Tai Chi every day. So
yeah, me and skis never hit it off. I was like, George of the Jungle and Sonny Bono had a kid, it would have been me. Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, water skis, snow skis, forget about it. I'd be eating, I'd be eating a tree somewhere down the slope.
Yeah, there's that can happen.
Yeah, it's like you should have turned left and you went right. Okay, no, thank you. Now, I'm learning with the Reiki that we're doing here.
Yeah.
It's, I mean, I'm finding it amazing with the amount of energy that you can bring into one's body.
Yeah.
Is this the same for the Tai Chi and Qigong?
Qigong? You know, yeah, the principles that we work with is, Tai Chi, we're between heaven and earth, and we're receiving from the earth and receiving from the head top. So, and then there's also environmental Chi. So I stand with Chi trees here in Sweden. I mean, it's like we're not getting rid of winter this year. It's like 4 degrees out today.
Oh, Jesus.
Celsius. But I mean, it's like
it's still blasted cold.
We had a week of spring, and then it went back to cold. But I sit with a flame. You can absorb Chi, and it's actually the light of a candle's good for your eyes. So you can absorb Chi from mountains, trees, environments, rivers, oceans. Nice to stand with oceans. So yeah, you're receiving and giving. Yeah, but I think that Reiki is something that is tapped into that same principle. Of course, you have the other symbols and all that are connecting with the masters and stuff. So, and there's a lineage that you follow in martial arts if you're lucky enough. And I've been really blessed to be with great lineages, and there's always a difference.
Yeah. I know with Kevin, the guy who runs the Good Morning Reiki, he is a wilderness trainer, and he also sun gazes.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah. And
I have a quick story about that.
Go for it,
if I may.
Go.
I was building my first teacher's house down in right above Neil Young's ranch in Woodland Hills, or not Woodside, and I just decided not to go to the Guitar Institute of Technology, because I had 3 kids, and I was going, well, that's not got my company, I was a little bit, fat in the bank, so I thought I'd take a 6 month, 3 months at a time at GIT, and I go, nah. I put on Jeff Beck, and my razor blade stuck, so I put a new blade in. I was etching some metal. I put my hand way above my head, and bam, right into there.
Ow.
Yeah. And so I cut the nerves here, and I had to have microscopic surgery. Long story short, I'm in Macy's with my girlfriend, and our eyes meet this beautiful Persian woman across Macy's in San Francisco, if you've been there. And then our eyes meet, and she comes walking over. I watched her, and she came over and told me, she asked me what I did. I told her. She said, so now what you do is in the morning, stare at the sun, and then close your eyes and take that energy into your hand. And at night, so you don't want to stare at the sun.
Right.
And just visualize that. And after 6 months, the neurologist said what growth had happened back would happen. And I could only play for like 5 minutes, and I'd have to, right?
Peel back.
And I was sitting there talking to a friend of mine, telling him this story, and all of a sudden it was like an arc welder hitting and joining, and my hand jumped a bunch of times, and then reconnected, and I got full operational. So I like to share that with people too, because you close your eyes, you can see the light come in, and then visualize taking it to your.
Yeah, because that's the one thing Kevin tells us is just absorb it, just let it flow into you.
Mm-hmm.
That's another thing before I forgot. I know with the Gauge Reiki, there's a lot of different hand motions as far as
mudras.
Yeah, mudras. and he has a card deck with different hand mudras in there, which is really cool.
Oh, that sounds nice.
Yeah, because what he would do is during some of the sessions, he would pull a mudra card and then an oracle card with a power animal.
That sounds great.
Yeah, it's cool. Like I said, you're more than welcome to join us sometime when you have time in the morning.
Yeah, I mean, I would love to have a deck of mudra cards. I mean, I have a few of them, but I don't have. I think there's like 64 in the Taoist art. So,
all right. Just as the hand mudras, would that be considered the same as movements through Tai Chi or Kujang?
well, I would say that the principles of integrating different systems is, you could say, in that, meaning that each movement in Tai Chi has a relative, element to it, right? And it can be a yin move or a yang move, expansive, contractive, or you have earth, wood, metal, all these systems that are being supported by those meridian paths that are being utilized and opened in that move. So in that, I would say so. And the other thing is there's geometrics in Tai Chi and Qigong, meaning circles, squares, triangles, and things that as you're practicing, these are a visual. So what we visualize, like even if you have your arms out here like this, right?
Right.
And somebody pushes down on them and your toes are in, you'll be stronger if your toes are out. You can play that game. This is safe to play at home. And then if you do this with your toes out like that, with your arms extended, and somebody pushes down, not hard, I mean, just gentle, increase the pressure till it breaks. The hold breaks, not the arm. And you put it in the weakened spot with your toes out and just visualize that you have a circle here, right?
Okay.
And you'll be strong. So in Tai Chi, we're working with circles and balls.
So it's basically
in that way, I would say that's the same as mudras. You can have different mudras that you're working with. And
right.
Yeah.
I don't think we got through the entire deck of the hand mudras. There's got to be hundreds of different.
Yeah, I'm sure there are. I've only studied the Taoist, and I didn't have the book. We got it in China, and I didn't follow up with it. I just took a couple, but yeah.
Now, how many different forms of martial arts have you studied? I mean, you've been through quite a few, I know.
I never really counted. I'd say about, where I actually went somewhere with it, I would say 5. Philippine stick fighting, arnis, and eskrima, Wing Chun, and karate, Shaolin Kempo, Kung Fu karate, and I did Taekwondo and Okinawan, and now I'm doing Shotokan. But Tai Chi is the most. I fell in love with Tai Chi. I hated Tai Chi when I started, because I had to stand there and be quiet. For the longest time. And the only reason I stayed was my girlfriend was there, and it was the only thing I could do. My wrist was injured. So 33 years with that, and about 25 years with each one. But I studied, Muay Thai.
I've heard about that. I don't know, what is that exactly?
It's Thai. It's a Thai martial art. A lot of open. A lot for body and great kicks. That I was taught that mainly for the kicks and some of the boxing, but mainly the kicking from Muay Thai is really powerful.
Yeah, because I like watching the UFC from time to time and watching some of these guys with the different martial arts that they practice.
Well, they're combining the BJJ, the Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, with Muay Thai is every time I go to one of those places, I don't do jujitsu. I missed that boat, and I don't want to go on it now. I roll with my son sometimes, but I only roll with people I know aren't going to break me into.
Yeah, no kidding.
Yeah. So but anyway, that's it's a valuable art, Muay Thai.
Yeah, I mean,
It gets the job done. It gets your body. I train for my body's integration, body, mind, spirit, and you always have to keep the mind confused.
right.
That's the best way to keep it young. So that's why I continue to train.
Now, would you? You and I talked about this before. One of the girls that is with the Hempworks team, she created a program called Divinely Guided Children. Would Tai Chi be very beneficial for a younger child?
Absolutely. Absolutely. I taught a teacher, a group down in La Costa, down by San Diego. And I taught him just the standing. And she went to her school, elementary school, and she taught her, I think, 7-year-olds or 8-year-olds the standing, and they stood for 5 minutes before lunch. And then they went with other teachers to the lunch hall and came back. And the teacher came in and said, "What'd you give those kids, Valium or something?" They walked in a straight line. They didn't fight at the tables. They weren't trying to get each other's lunch and stuff. And they came back in a straight line.
Wow.
It integrates so quickly. And that's why I love to share this with people all the time, because it doesn't take that much to gain access to your system and the systems within your system that optimize your optimize integration, body, mind, spirit. And this is from all of my experience and those guys that I've been blessed to train with and have a wide background in martial arts like I do. This is like, when you get this, you go, oh, wow, okay. And so actually each one's moved into professional sports, football, boxing, all kinds of things, because it's so quickly effective on our health. And that's really the way, that's the path of the martial arts. I mean, of course you want to defend yourself, but once you really learn martial arts, that isn't a story anyway.
Right.
All it's like the laws of attraction. When you're nervous and weak, and then you attract sharks.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I would think too. It's also for mind focus. Being able to streamline your focus into a particular spot or particular area.
Well, yeah, that's it, and it helps with focus. And I had a thought there. I wanted to say this. For me, it cut down the chatter. I could be doing 2 things at once, and I thought that was efficient, right? And then after about 6 months of Tai Chi, my body actually stopped me one day. I was trying to write a note and leave a voice message with my buddy, my partner in our company, and I was talking while I was writing notes for my crew. And my body stopped me and turned me, and I finished one thing and I did the other, like Buddha, one thing at a time, chop wood, haul water. Well, it takes on a whole new deal when you're actually present. So what I would say for me is it showed me when I wasn't present.
Right.
So even when we're sitting and focusing here, we don't just focus all the time. We notice. The key is to notice when we're not here, and without judgment. Oh, okay, and then I just come back.
Yeah.
And pretty soon you can come back a lot faster. And I think that's what, Morihei Yoshibi, the creator of Aikido, one day in class, and if you ever see movies of this guy's 5 foot tall, and he's got like 10 or 15 black belts towering above him, attacking him, and they're going around in a circle, and people are flying out of the circle, and then you see this one little lizard spinning around in the middle. Yeah. Well, one day he said, when I get out of balance, I just come back. And the student goes, "But Sensei, I never see you out of balance, he says, I just get back before you can notice.
See, that is the one thing that's always amazed me. And it's the one thing I'm starting to realize about myself, especially in the Reiki, is I'm a lot more focused than I've been in a long time.
Yeah.
And
well, you have to be present to do Reiki.
Yeah.
Present and not there.
Right. I mean, one of my standing jokes is, my hamster traded in his wheel for a damn turbine engine. Because my mind used to race like a son of a bitch. And now I'm realizing that I'm sensing that I'm able to slow down that momentum once my mind gets going. And I find it amazing that I'm, able to sit down and focus on one thing instead of my mind going ape shit everywhere.
Yeah. And you're a guitarist, so you had to do that. You had to do that to get the guitar going. I love the guitar. If I don't play the guitar, I don't feel well because that's a period of time that I'm just there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because it helps me stay focused instead of trying to play 7 chords at once. I've only got 5 fingers, dude. So you can only play one at a time. Yeah, so I'm not Eddie here doing the tap-ons,
Yeah.
I'll tell you that was one thing Eddie was amazing at. The way that guy could finger tap just blew my mind when he first came on the scene.
Yeah.
Eddie was just phenomenal.
Yeah, started a whole new wave of playing.
Oh God, without a doubt. I mean, I don't know about you, but I grew up on Zeppelin. I've been listening to Zeppelin since I was 8 years old.
Hendrix, Zeppelin.
Yeah.
Peter Green, I love Peter Green from.
Oh yeah, God yeah. That whole group of artists coming back. And then I told you about my incident with James Cotton that one year.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. I grew into the blues, but
Oh man.
See, there we go. We dovetail off into we're out in the guitar world.
Well, they kind of
martial art, right?
Well, it still comes down to the premise that in order to play and try to memorize scales and modes and everything else, you've got to be focused on this stuff to know what you're doing.
And it's muscle memory,
right?
And recognition,
right? And it's got to be the same way with the martial arts as well. You've got to be able to whatever move you're doing to act or counteract.
Yeah, and that's the beauty of the Tai Chi and the Qigong that I practice, because what happens is when you're really connected and integrated, then you always make the right move.
Right.
And the form becomes the formless, as they say, and you respond to life naturally. And you respond if something's falling, you're there, and it's like it's a great metaphor to train the body. I'm glad that I got as picked on as I did as a kid, because I was a musician, but I wasn't really all that disciplined because school was easy up to a point. And then when it got difficult, I'll go play Frisbee golf.
Yeah.
Yeah. But the martial arts help physically bring me to a place of focus and all I do. So I recommend it for everybody.
Oh,
Tai
yeah.
Chi, Qigong, yoga's another one.
Yeah, because I know Kevin's been talking about doing a older warrior yoga.
I could probably use that.
Yeah. I'll let you know when that comes out, because he's planning on bringing that out real soon here in the next week or so.
Cool.
So I will send you a heads up on that when he starts doing those.
Yeah. Thank you.
What can you tell us about the 39, the life light wave?
Okay, well, what it's called is it's called X39. It's considered a light medical device. It's something that you put on your body. I actually, I have mine here on my neck. It stimulates the GK copper peptide, GHK copper peptide. which then, from what I've been told and read, stimulates 4,000 to 5,000 genes of regeneration. And then that in turn activates your stem cells, which you have anyway, but they don't activate, and they get weaker as you get older. And so you don't heal as fast and things like that. So this is a product that's been on the market 2 years last January with a company that's been around for 17 years, LifeWave. And I can tell you my experience of it.
If you could, please.
Yeah, I didn't know I was paralyzed to my knees. I was in another accident in Vegas. I actually went to see Eddie Van Halen and the boys in 2003 when they did their reunion tour with Sammy Hagar and
Sam and Eddie show.
Yeah, and I met I met my old girlfriend and all my old buddies. We all grew up in Pasadena with those guys, so it was like a old friends week.
Yeah, homecoming.
Yeah, homecomings. So anyway, I was in a bad accident, just real quick, and from that, I always had problems with my right knee, but I thought it was from a ski injury, and I got a hold of this patch, Onyx Cole, and my promoter in Sarasota, Florida, had me down there, and I got this patch 21 months ago. I put it on, and 3 years ago, I was working in Dubai, and my left leg completely lost neurological feed, and I collapsed in the middle of the sidewalk. Bam! Right. Actually, I was half in the street, and totally taken. I was doing a lot of heavy Kundalini yoga training, and I had a bad back. So anyway, I worked on myself with the healing work I do. Got up, got to a chiropractor, and then this came to me. But my three toes on each foot, the middle toes, were numb for starting about 3-4 years ago till I put the patch on. 6 hours later, it was burning as if your toes are frozen from skiing and they're thawing out. And I thought I'd been doing some work on my. I have a camper, big camper, I told you, and I was doing some carpentry in there, and I thought maybe I'd bent wrong, and it lasted 3 days. I've gone now for 21 months, and the knees started healing, and the nerves started reconnecting, and I had inflammatory responses in all areas of my knees. I'd completely blown my right knee out medially or toward the inside and supine back. And because I did Tai Chi, I had access to my ligaments, so I never got surgery. I just rebuilt it myself by exercise, visualization, and the energy healing I do, and supplements and stuff. But now I've gone through 5 events. My knees are solid, but in one of those events, when the nerves connected to my left knee, I was going down the stairs, and my upper leg, my tibia, it was like this. I had been doing Wing Chun Kung Fu for like the last 6 months, running intervals and stuff, and my knee wasn't even connected. And I laid down for about a week, and it's back. I'm one of the most thrilling things for me, and it's something that has been because of all my injuries, I'm extremely sensitive. So when I work with people, I can do a lot of work with the head traumas and stuff. I've worked with a lot of professional athletes and soldiers, even from compression of IEDs and stuff like that. I've been effective, but this has one by one cleared. I've had nine TBIs, traumatic brain injuries, where I've been knocked out really bad, and I've had countless other little injuries, whatever you call them little. One thing that I learned by studying the brain is there's not too many little brain injuries, just like getting into your car and hitting your head, that can cause brain damage.
I did that last night.
Okay. Well, plus you had that other thing that we worked on. So
yeah,
a full frontal injury. So anyway, I'm doing great. It's like my brain is functioning like it did. I used to be, I ran a construction company. I could do three things at once. I could be doing the accounting, the materials, and running the show, and always going six. I was a little OCD, but I guess I'd do 16-hour days some days.
Oh yeah.
But my brain's working that way again. I'm very fast. Things I used to warm up with on the guitar, some classical stuff, popped in, and I was like, I hadn't been able to play that for years, and all of a sudden the whole thing, and I kept doubting that I was going to get it all the way through. I kept watching and going, no way. It came back, and so my eyesight's much better. I had to get new glasses. They said when I got these glasses, I asked the lady, I said, yeah, we want to check my cataract. I think my eyes are improving. She goes, you can't improve a cataract. She got mad at me here in Sweden. I go, okay. And then when I got my glasses, I go, so what about that cataract? She goes, oh, I wouldn't worry. It's just starting. So yeah, it's regenerated. The stem cells, your own stem cells get regenerated. There's a lot of studies on this. I think you got a link there.
Yeah, I've got it.
Yeah, it's just been the best thing that's ever come my way, because I'd spent $15,000 trying to rebuild my wrist. I broke this wrist twice, and I did my knees, injections in my wrist, my knees, my elbows from when I was a carpenter and I was a mechanic, plus boxing and all that. I have no arthritis in my elbows anymore. My thumbs are free. This broken wrist, if I did this move here,
Right.
I could go like this, and now this wrist that was stuck is all freed up now. The stem cells went in and pushed out all the scar tissue, and yeah. So that's my experience. Yeah, and I have lots of friends and family I've shared this with, and it's just wonderful. So go ahead.
I was gonna say is I've got like carpal tunnel because mine will tighten up, and I've got to pop it to get it loosened up.
Yeah. Okay. I somewhat know that. I mean, because my brake, I used to sometimes it would pop and then be oh, that's better. I never set my wrist. I didn't know it was broken. The first time. The second time I was sparring with a guy, I broke it, and I knew that.
Yeah, that was kind of obvious at that point.
Well,
no.
He put it into the right place, so it was painful, but it was much better. God works amazing.
Yeah. Tell me about it. That's the one thing that amazes me about the martial arts. The theories behind it, the exercises behind it, and what it's able to achieve is always blown my mind.
Yeah.
What you can do, what the body can actually handle, and I mean, it's always amazing. It's like, and that's the one thing that always intrigued me about the martial arts, especially like Tai Chi and some of the other martial arts, where you're the flowing of energy, and it's like, I love it. Like,
and everything's got the same. Like for me, I think you're probably a better player than I am after we talked the other day. But I have sat down with some good players, and you're in that space, and all of a sudden you're with somebody who's better than you, and you don't know how or why you're playing better, but you're playing better.
Yeah.
That one?
Yeah, it's like osmosis in a sense.
Yeah, I mean, and you're not really there, and it's going through you, and it's happening. And I mean, I read a thing by Eddie, and he said the same thing. He goes, "Yeah, sometimes I play stuff on stage, and I go, wow, that was really great, but I couldn't figure out how I did it."
Yeah, no shit.
And that's the thing that's what I equate the martial arts is there all these different forms and setups for moving the body in all these different ways, and then when you're integrated and in the right place, right?
Mm-hmm.
Then the energies can flow, and naturally you move with nature. And that's really what the martial arts are. They started in India with 3 months of massage, and then they train you, and then it's evolved into China and the Mekong and all that. But It's really about giving the body optimal support to develop in many different combinations of movements and thoughts so that then we become one with nature. And I think that's one of the beauties of Qigong and Tai Chi is you start there.
Right.
You start there in the stillness, and then your natural movement will come. And there's a way to get there.
Right.
That's why I like to give each one to people, because that's really, I just saw the results of it. Sparring with people right away, and sorry.
Sorry.
Sparring with people that had a lot less experience with me, but had done this standing. I sparred with this teacher in Berkeley, and she'd only been doing it for 5 years. I said, "Wow, you're really good at push hands. How long have you been practicing?" She goes, 5 years. I go, 5 years. I go, wow, I've been doing 8, but I mean, still, that's all the martial arts she'd ever done. I've been doing it my whole life. So it's a giving ourselves the focus, optimizing our movements. You're optimizing your brain and fingers and coordination with guitar. It's just, it's great.
Well,
and then the energy flows.
Right. See, out here where I am, I've tried to look up, Tai Chi and that, because I blew up my back years back, L5S1.
Okay.
And I still have problems with it.
Okay.
And I've had the injections, the whole 9 yards, and it's like no surgeries. I won't go under the knife for that.
Well, do you have the X39?
No, not yet.
Because I can tell you from my experience with my own back, absolutely. I have all new, because I took a jump and jammed all my vertebrae together in my from T6 to about T10. But also my lower back was injured twice. I have no problems now.
Really?
Yeah, none. Actually, all the scar tissue, I blew out my hips too. I went straight up way too high. The trajectory, the snow had melted from this to this. And I just came back from LA and said, I'm going to take that jump again. I'm like, but anyway, I've just been working with people for a long time with this. And I've seen photographs of really unbelievably regenerative things. And I'd like to share some of those with you. Because how long have you been on the X39?
I haven't tried it yet. I just found this out when I first saw you after April and Jay show.
Oh, okay. Because I just got it to my best friend, my business partner. It was Wink Smyth and Associates in San Francisco. James continued on with our company, retired, and built a house down in Costa Rica. And I was down there surfing with him a couple of years ago. But he got some skin stuff and some visual stuff. And he had a really bad head trauma. His joke with me, I'd be telling stories. He'd go, "Wow, that's really cool, Bart." And I go, "You were with me." He goes, oh. And so the joke was, yeah, the joke was, I wouldn't have a youth if it wasn't for you. And I thought it was because of, some of the recreational things we did. But no, it was, he had a terrible tricycle accident. He was on a tricycle, went down the hill and crashed into the back of his mom's car. Long story short, one of my students here in Sweden just flew to Costa Rica and delivered him 8 months worth of patches because they're not getting out of Costa Rica right now with COVID. He wrote me, I gave this to a friend of mine yesterday who's had that terrible screwed up back, and it's 50% better the next day. And he slept like a baby and he hasn't been able to sleep. So I have that email. I'm going to put it on my website.
Yeah. Because my younger brother was a paratrooper.
Oh, yeah.
And 10 of his vertebrae are like completely shot. He's got a titanium rod in his neck. And I want to get some of these for him too, because I mean, watching him try to walk is like, osteoporosis times 100 with him.
Well, Qigong and Tai Chi would be important also.
Right.
It's got a lot of validated studies on osteoporosis, and I had senior schools in Las Vegas that we had that my crew was getting better. But get them on this, and I'd be happy to talk to him, if you want.
Yeah, matter of fact, I'll probably bring him on Sunday when you do the session.
Oh, good. Yeah. Good.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're going to do another free group session. It's our last in the series of 4 for the last program we did with Jay. And they can go to my website, which is, thank you, it's going across the lower bar there. Yeah, bring them on. I'd be happy to assist them. Yeah. So the X39 is, I have it right here. Do you want me to show it?
Yeah, please.
Yeah. So this is the package. Whoops. And then, I came home from work and my daughter's horse had 4 swollen hooves and an open wound in one of the hooves. And I just took my patch off and it was snowing. So I put it under the blanket on the horse's sacrum. They'd been working on the horse's feet for 2 weeks with massage and liniment and other things. And the next day, 3 of the feet were normal. And so the other one with the open wound took 2 weeks for it to heal with this, but they were making no headway. Not just this, we used other colloidal silver and stuff, but you just peel this patch off, right?
Yeah.
And how I got my, you just put it on one. I'm going to go ahead and put another one on my wrist today just to show you. But you put it on your neck below the, on the spine below the neck, or the belly buttons here. So you go like 3 fingers down the dantian, you put it there. So they work with the main energy flows.
So through the entire chakra system, correct?
Well, the chakras are part of that. Of course, it's your system, but no, there's 2 positive and there's positive and negative flows. You've heard the yin yang, yeah. So you have the positive, negative flows of energy, and when you have one up the back that's called the governing, and one in the front that's called conception. So GV, CV. But when you touch your tongue to the roof of the mouth, and this is one of the tricks to Tai Chi, is we swallow and the tongue sticks there, right?
Mm-hmm.
So we'll give this to the audience too. This is one of the tricks to Tai Chi that, believe it or not, I've some people just teach Tai Chi without that, and it's very important to have this. This connects these 2 channels, integrating your energy. So yeah, so I have one here, but to get my wound healed here and my wrist, you can maybe see my let me see. I've got my Harry Potter.
Oh yeah, you did that up good.
See the lightning strike there?
Yeah.
My son calls it Harry Potter. But anyway, I just put it right here on that wound, and I can tell you, after 3 days, I was able to make a move that I hadn't even ventured to move since 1990.
Oh.
And then since then, it's just been better and better. So yeah, so we put these on for 12 hours and take them off for 12 hours. And the body needs more water. It can be there. It can, with the new growth, you can have detox. I wear mine during the day and from morning till evening. And then at night, your body's cleansing and resting anyway. But some people like to wear them at night too. But just, it's 12 hours on, 12 hours off. So you give the body rest. And it's very inexpensive. Unbelievable.
Wow.
I spent $2,000 in 20 months, and I'm 65. All my hair grew back in the front. It's getting dark at the roots. My face is looking younger, and the main thing is how I feel. So
yeah, that's the important part. Is the overall end result is how do you feel.
Yeah, I'm not looking at myself in the mirror all day.
Well,
it's nice to see that that face that was falling off.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, listen, we're over an hour already, brother.
Oh, we are.
Yeah.
Okay, and we're going live. That's awesome. Were we going to take any phone calls today, or?
No. My time zone is like 6:30 in the morning over here, so
okay.
I was surprised I had the 2 girls from our group who popped in.
Oh, good. Well, shall we
Yeah, let's bring this to a close. Kevin would love to do like a 3-week interview with you at some point. Would you be up for
Absolutely.
that?
Absolutely. And we could do it at a time that's, let me know.
All right, great. I will do that. I
Where we can.
appreciate your time today. Sorry I was late.
Oh, no, that was me.
Uh,
I told you that was 6 hours, remember? I
yeah.
thought you were Atlanta, so really. I was practicing guitar, thinking about you.
Cool.
Have to
Yeah,
jam someday.
I got my telly underneath the bed over here.
There you go. Well, thank you very much for having me on your show today.
Oh, thank you for coming. I really appreciate this.
Yes.
After watching you on April and Jay show, I was like really intrigued to want to talk, sit down and talk to you and get to know what you're about. I really appreciate it.
Thank you. Yeah, I look forward to growing together and seeing some of those mudras and everything else that we can participate and share with the world, right?
You got that right, brother.
All right. Well,
All right,
thank
man.
you.
You have a great day. I will talk to you soon.
Thank you. See you later.
All right. Take care, brother.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye now.